Okay. So, hey y'all, hey everybody. We here? Everybody good? Okay. So, hello and welcome to A Girl Like Me Live. I'm so glad that y'all are here. This is our first episode of this new series, which I'm so excited about. It's an interactive live streaming series advancing health and wellness discussions and education among women with and vulnerable to HIV. Every 2 weeks, Cece, I will sit down and with different co-hosts and we'll discuss different topics to chat about in our community. I'm so excited about this. I know. In today's episode, we'll talk with you four long-term survivors from the Well Projects community. So we have Portia Dees and Vicki Lynn and Maria Mayha and Aisha Scott as we commemorate the 40th anniversary of HIV and honor HIV Long-Term Survivors Day. So we're going to just jump right into this because I'm so excited. Like I feel like I know y'all already because I've read so many of your blogs and seen you give so many presentations. So I'm just really excited to be sitting here in front of y'all. So okay, first we'll start with I'm going to just go in order. And I'm going to start with Vicki Lynn. I would ask that you provide a brief intro of yourself, your affiliations, like with the Well Project and your other organizations, and discuss what this 40th anniversary means to you.
Thank you so much, Cece. Hi, everybody. I want to first thank Cece for all her hard work in putting this together. I am so excited to be here and want to thank the Well Project for creating this space so that we can discuss and celebrate this 40th anniversary. My name is Vicki Lynn, and this is my 30th year of living with an AIDS diagnosis and 36 years of living with HIV. And I am so amazingly grateful to be here. I am currently a visiting faculty member at the School of Social Work at the University of South Florida. I'm also on the board of the HIV League, which is the only national scholarship for students living with HIV. I'm a member of the steering committee for the Reunion Project and a research working member on the National Working Positive Coalition. My relationship with the Well Project started almost a decade ago, and I really can't remember exactly how I got connected with them. I was just starting my doctoral program, and I know the first time I met Krista in person was at the 2012 International AIDS Conference when we initiated the A Girl Like Me blog. That's where I first met Maria and Bosie. Bosie, I hope you're on here. I love you, honey. I'm just blown away. Last night I was actually looking at some pictures from that time, and I'm just blown away that how quickly the time has passed, because sometimes it feels like yesterday, but it's been a decade. I've watched the Well Project grow. I've watched all the women that I've met through the Well Project grow. And, as I look back over the past 40 years of the HIV pandemic, part of me is still horrified, but part of me is also ecstatic and very grateful to be here. It would probably take me all day to fully explain what the 40th anniversary means to me. I will personally have 40 years in 2025. So we're going to have a big celebration. Maybe we can have a women's slumber party. We've been talking about that with the Well Project for a few years. Maybe we can make that happen. I've experienced the good, the bad, and the really ugly of this pandemic. And the Well Project has been such a source of inspiration for me. It's helped me to feel connected to other women. It's helped me educate myself and other women. I've worked with the Well Project on language. Many of you know that one of my passions is on the terminology we use to describe health and wellness and people living with highly stigmatized conditions, especially HIV. So I have a huge passion in that area, and I'm just really grateful to be here. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Vicky. Oh my God. Yeah, I read that. You have a fact sheet, or you help put together a fact sheet, wordsmith
Yeah,
or
yeah.
language matters. I always refer because even as a person living with HIV, sometimes I don't think of, how stigmatizing that language is. So appreciate you. You definitely left your mark with this organization. Appreciate you. So then we have Portia D's. What is your affiliation, with the Well Project, and what other stuff you got going on? And what does this 40th anniversary mean to you?
Hi. Hi, guys. Good morning, everybody. And thank you. I'm going to piggyback off of what Vicky was saying. Thank you, Cece, for putting this together for us. Like, this is totally awesome. Um, like, so I am, I guess, a CAB member for the Well Project, and I've been a CAB member since 2018. Um, I met Krista and a few other ladies. Masonia introduced me to Krista at the 2018 U.S. Conference on AIDS, I believe. Um, and I am, I'm obviously everybody knows who follows me that I was born HIV positive. I'm a vertical, and I've been living with it for going on 35 years now. So out of the 40, 35 years, I've been living with this virus. I am also a member of NMAC, National Minority AIDS Council, their HIV and aging advocacy internship. So that's super awesome. Um, and I work for the Black AIDS Institute as a linkage to care coordinator. Um, and what the 40th anniversary of HIV, of this pandemic, means to me, or what I think about in all of this, is how far we've come with like treatment and with science. Shoot, man, I remember as a child, all the medicines I used to have to take. You know what I'm saying? Like, just how far treatment has come. Shoot, it was called Grid at one point. I think when I was born, they barely changed the name of gay related, what is it, immune deficiency to HIV, like in like 86 or 87. Um, there were no medications. The medications we have now, like the art that we take now, wasn't available when I was born. It was I was on a lot of trial medications that led to the medication that we're taking today. Man, and then just being in the midst of intersecting pandemics, I feel like that's what we're going through right now with this COVID-19. Um, it's just really making me, I guess, understand how like fear of the unknown, how it drives stigma. Like um, just like I'm like relating everything that's happening with COVID right now to the AIDS pandemic. And so like, you know, yeah, so I mean, like Vicky said, I can go on, and I feel like I'll be able to add more comments in here and there throughout our discussion. So I'll just stop right there. But that's me.
Thank you, Portia. Oh, I've loved your spirit since I like first came across you. So like I'm so grateful to be here with you. Now, Maria, is your turn. So once again, your affiliations with the Well Project and beyond. And um what does the 40th anniversary mean to you? Are you there? You look a little frozen.
40th anniversary mean to you?
Do you hear me?
Yes, now.
I'm frozen. Okay. I
Now
was
you're not
saying,
frozen.
joking. Are you saying what gang affiliation?
Not gang affiliations. That's a different life. We talking about your
You
professional
know,
affiliation.
we're a gang of positive women. We are, but a positive gang. I was telling someone that's watching that, see all these faces, all these beautiful shades, you know.
Okay, Maria, I'm not going to even front. Like you are breaking up a little bit. I heard a little of what you were saying. Now you're frozen again. So look, all right, this isn't even the most flattering pose of your face right now. It's not bad though, Maria. I'm going to hold on you and I'm going to go on to Aisha and we'll be right back. So, all right. Aisha Scott. Yes. Oh my God. Y'all stories are so inspiring to me because I couldn't imagine. So I'm going to pose to you the same thing. Introduce yourself, your affiliations with the Well Project and beyond, and what does this 40th anniversary mean to you? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Well, sorry about that. I had started off so great too. But yes, I just want to first say thank you all for joining us. I'm so happy to be here for this first session of A Girl Like Me Live. When I first became a blogger for A Girl Like Me, I didn't even think about this. So, to see this happening is so exciting. And I just can't wait to see all of the discussions and where they lead to. But for me, I have been affiliated with the Well Project since about 2015 or 16, so about 5 years or a little bit longer. And I am a CAP member, so I'm on the Community Advisory Board where we help and discuss things that will benefit our community, which is most important to me. I first became an advocate because I was ousted and I quickly saw how much my presence was needed in my community, just how many people reached out to me, secretly sharing their own status with me, even looking for support and resources. And I kind of got stuck here, but that's not a bad thing. I absolutely love what I do. I love helping people living with HIV, especially youth and women. This 40th anniversary to me just means more life, more to give, just more to go, because honestly, we see so many things about U equals U and ending the pandemic, but we actually don't have, to me, any true progression. You know, in my community, I'm still seeing so much stigma. And I mean, in my local community, in my community of individuals living with HIV, we're still seeing self-stigmatization. So there's so much more to go, but we've come so far. And I definitely want to acknowledge what my sister shared prior to me, because it is true. We've definitely come so far in medication. We're losing less of our friends and people that we love. And that definitely means a lot to me, especially losing a parent from HIV. And I definitely know some others can share that. So again, I'm just thankful to be here, thankful to even have this A Girl Like Me Live platform to be able to discuss long-term survivor day and even share what that means for me. So thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Portia. I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you, Aisha. I'm so sorry. Um, Maria. All right. Maybe as we continue to go along, Maria will be able to join us. I do think this service is really
Do you guys hear me? Do you guys hear me a little bit better?
uh,
Yes, we can
talking.
hear you
Let's
better.
say.
I'm gonna try to myself now. So you guys can't hear me at all?
No, we can hear you better.
No,
It's
That was
just
good.
nothing.
it's just choppy.
Okay, well, I don't know. It's Mercury retrograde, by the way. So you know, a lot of things get messed up. So, anyways, my name is Maria. I'm gonna be short because I was gonna give this thing about us women and not being, we're the forgotten ones. It's always been history, and that's all the time because Prague is such a special place. I started with them around 2010. You're an OG as well. My roommate, and I was so proud to see her story. I was sharing her being now a doctor, a PhD. I like to empower other women, and the Well Project has been a very important and special place for me because there's really no organizations for women. Everything is for men, for men, for men, and I understand that, but you cannot. Like for example, I was talking about that in a few interviews I've done because of this anniversary that's coming. And I'm not trying to criticize Act Up New York because those are my mentors, but how come you don't mention the women that fought along with you in Act Up New York or in other places around the world? Women have always been there. And why isn't there research for women? You know, have the same bodies as men. So we have to pretty much continue to fight, all of us together. And what I was saying before is that people need to see all these beautiful faces. I'm not boasting about mine, but we are all beautiful women. I commend the women that were born with HIV. I don't know what that is like. It must be a very hard thing. I got HIV as a teenager, and so I was aware of what the hell was going on TV and stuff like that. We didn't have medicine, we didn't have nothing, and but I've been anyway with the World Project for a long time as a blogger. I'm a CAB member. I'm a global ambassador. I made myself a recruiter too because I have a very good eye for women that are powerful. Because I believe that this is not about us. This is not about ego. This is about empowering other women to be even better than us so they can empower other women in their communities and all over the globe. So I'm very honored to be here with all of you beautiful women. And I hope that the Well Project continues to help us because I will tell you the truth. If it wasn't for the Well Project, I probably would not be here. The Well Project gives me motivation. I've been an activist for 4 years and a long-term survivor for 33 years. And I shouldn't be here, but I am, and I'm happy to be here with all of you.
Same. Thank you, Maria. That sounded much better. We can hear you now.
Yes,
um,
I'll forever be thankful for Maria. Like every and say that she's the one that introduced me to the Well Project. Like, and I'm so grateful. So yes, you are a recruiter.
Yes, definitely a recruiter because she recruited me too. And I'm always thankful for Maria. She knows that.
And I appreciate that you guys say that. But Aisha, honey, you looking good too, honey. What's going on? Listen, Aisha, do you remember you? And you told me, oh no, let me send a blurry picture. You
um,
Oh, I don't really know what you said,
remember
Maria.
Well, you sent me a blurry picture when you were going to start the blog. And then that
Oh,
same day, you're like, forget it. I'm not going to use a blurry picture. I'm going to put my picture. And that was so inspirational to me. Look at you now. Look at all of you. All of you are examples. And
Zion.
I'm sorry for
I I was gonna piggyback off of what you were saying about the Well Project, and and how it saved your life. And I know for me, this a girl like me, the blogging platform is the first time I was like really able to like freely express myself and everything, that I've been going through, to a platform of women who are going through the same thing I'm going through. Because before I found this, I really didn't know too many people who were going through the same thing, who were living with HIV. And so this platform gave me that connection. And you asked, you don't know what it's like being born with it. I know it ages you right now, ages you faster than usual right now, and I feel like my health issues that I'm experiencing are like health issues that usually somebody in their like 50s or 60s would be going through, like right now. And I have a blood clot that I'm trying to get rid of with taking these blood thinners. My kidneys is bad, so I got to take medicine for that. You know, but the fact that we've come so far, and we are able to say that we're aging with HIV is a blessing, like, because when I was born, I wasn't supposed to be 5, according to the doctors and to science and the medicine that they have out now. So what a blessing it is that we're able to age with HIV now, So
That's so decent. Like, and they always say, like, trust the science, trust the science. And if y'all had have trusted the science and like kind of given up, then we wouldn't know, y'all beautiful faces or the personalities or what y'all have to offer this world and community. So I'm so grateful, for those that loved on you and that, they got you to this point. Yo, I want to cry. Like, I always just want to cry. So I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so like over the years, of course, this is the Well Project is an organization, a women's organization. So we always bring it back to that point. So have you noticed any changes on the coverages of like the coverage of HIV and AIDS? Do you feel that women have been represented in the coverage of the epidemic? How has this coverage or lack thereof impacted women? So start with Vicky. I'm just gonna go.
Thank you. Good question. Gosh, last night I did a lot of thinking about how it was in the beginning. And I know for me, because, I contracted HIV in 1985. So at that time, we didn't even know women were at risk of contracting HIV. And of course, our government at the time really ignored the whole pandemic because of what populations it was impacting. But I know that I didn't even meet another woman living with HIV for almost an entire year. I met a lot of men living with HIV, and they really welcomed me with open arms. And I remember meeting in the basement of churches or wherever we could get together. Now, you got to remember, there was no internet back then. There weren't any cell phones. And even, I had a really good job at the time, and I had great health insurance, but I couldn't even find a doctor willing to see me. I was told, we don't see people like you, get out of our office, don't come back. And this was repeated, and so there were no safety nets for even men living with HIV, let alone women. So I remember going to different medical appointments, trying to find someone to help me, and just being told over and over again to leave. I have seen a lot of changes over the past 40 years in relation to women. In the beginning, we struggled just to comfort the dying. That's what was happening. We were all dying. So trying to comfort people was the only thing we had, because we didn't have any medication. And then in the mid 90s, when the medication came out, the newer medication, many of us started to get healthier. So we did see some focus on women. and we just saw a shift in the system of care in how, instead of caring for the dying, we're actually caring for the well and trying to make them healthier. And as the time has gone on, we're seeing other shifts. But I think the Well Project has been a staple in this community. And I remember when it was just like Krista was doing most of this herself. I mean, she was just connecting and working hard to connect all of us. She was doing a lot of this herself. And it's through her work and her education and the Well Project's education that has helped to bring women's issue to the forefront. We are seeing some research projects that are focused on women and women's health issues in relation to HIV, but we definitely need more of that. We also have seen like the Positive Women's Network. There's other organizations that just have empowered so many women over the years. And that's what, over the past 30 years, I've spent a lot of time advocating and fighting the system in trying to enact change for us. What I have discovered and what I have found is that instead of fighting the system, my energy is better spent creating a network of people and women that make a difference. Because if we're going to wait on, I get chills, if we're going to try to wait on our government or others to make change, it's not going to happen. We have to be that change. We have to create those networks in the communities to be able to change for ourselves and support each other. And that's one of the things the Well Project has done. And I'm just thrilled, and I'll stop for there.
You pretty much answered that question perfectly, but just to add to what you're saying, we also are starting to see commercials and stuff on TV now, like about the medication, PrEP, all that stuff. I don't know, if people are paying attention to it, but I know that's something that's different. That wasn't always a thing. I think it's fairly new within the last couple of years too. Like, so yeah, and it's women in the commercials.
I actually believed I just recently see something about prep for women. I don't know too much about it to speak too much on it at this time, but I do know I received some notification about that. So I think somewhere, people are getting it. There are even some grantees some grantors that are, pushing out initiatives that focus on women and that must, and for those who are actually applying, they must implement some sort of network that connects women living with HIV or at risk for HIV. So I do believe we are headed in a more women focused direction. I, again, just want to see more. So, again, what
Yeah.
everybody else is saying, it's, you're seeing a little bit and pieces here and there, but you're just not seeing enough, because even in local organizations, you're not seeing programs that are
Mhm.
targeted towards women. There are few organizations in certain states, and each county may have its TOPWA program, which is targeted outreach for pregnant women that are affected by HIV and AIDS. But that's, and not to discredit that, because it's actually a really great program. It connects women that may be at risk or are living with HIV to pertinent resources for themselves and their baby. But it's just for when they're pregnant, and just a short period for after birth. But what are those resources? What are, where do those other resources come in, especially for a pregnant mom living with HIV? You know, you bring in socioeconomic status
Mhm.
and maybe current family life and what that's like. And then again, adding on that layer of HIV and not even having maybe providers that are specialized in everything you're going through, and especially not the HIV. You're not really going to find too many mental health providers unless they're connected to Ryan White that are even understanding of what HIV adds on to a person's life, and maybe, you know, understanding that that's not even the entirety of their life, or maybe even where the focus is. Because I've met with mental health providers where they try so hard to focus on the HIV, and I'm like, look, I got molested. Let's talk about that because that's what's bothering me. And it's affecting my relationships, not the HIV. The HIV is like a superpower to me sometimes. And it's odd the way I've been able to turn that, and use it as a strength when at a time it wasn't. It's kind of like I just told myself I was making a change. I was going to be happy with myself. So that involves everything that comes with me. But again, there's not enough. I want to see more. I want to be able to go into an HIV organization in the same way I see programs that target MSM. We see programs that target women, that are outreaching women, that are focusing on getting women tested, that are focusing on getting women to care. And that's what I want to see more of. And I definitely just want to also thank all of those organizations that are out there now, like Sister Love, Iris House, that are trying to implement programs and that are implementing programs that impact women and that focus on women and prioritize women.
You saying that, Aisha, or you and Vicky both saying, there's organizations now that focus on women and programs, but there's not enough. It just makes me think about, taking it back to when we were born, what my mom probably had to go through in 86.
Yeah, my mom too.
Like, of not, there was probably nothing, being someone who was like addicted, heavy in her addiction. And when we talk about that too, even treatment centers, there's plenty for men, but not very many for women and children, you know what I'm saying? And I can just imagine what she had to go through. I don't know, but you saying all of that made me think about all of that.
No, it is true. Even look at today, we're having less and less babies being born with HIV. You're seeing in some counties where they're experiencing 0 or 1 for the year. And that just lets us know that there are programs that are targeting women in the areas that are needed most. And again, credit to programs like TAPWA that have been around for the last 10, 15 years. And that is when we have seen this high, decrease. We're not seeing perinatals or verticals, whichever you call them. Because I know we call them two different things, you say. So, but yeah, I mean, they have a start, it's working, but even with myself, I worry, there's programs, there was no program when, my daughter was born. There was a doctor that had been my doctor since I was born, and there was another woman at the time at her appointment, and she had delivered children that were living with HIV. And they basically made her a peer because technically she wasn't, working for them or anything like that. But she was a peer in that moment because they had her come and sit with me because I hadn't been taking my meds. And she explained to me, why you need to take your meds. You want to have children that are not born with HIV. She broke it down. She's like, look at what you're going through right now, just fighting to take your meds. You don't want your child to have to even worry about that. So if you can prevent that, even if it's just from while you're pregnant, just take your meds for right now. And she saved my life. If I want to pinpoint somebody, and I never really thought about that because honestly, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have even became consistent in taking my meds. And once I became consistent, it just was something to, it was just something to do. It was just like, I know I have to take it now, because I had done it that, by the matter of fact, by the time we even came out that I was pregnant, I was about 5 months. So, I only had about 5 months left to take my med and make sure I can protect my baby. And even at that time, they didn't even know for sure that, that would be the help. They just were, I think at the time, they were, my doctor, she had a lot to do with a lot of different trials and a lot of research that was going on. And that was one of the things they were kind of, I, realizing when they were going along, that the women who took their meds were more likely to deliver a negative child. So she, they came in, they did that, but there's women who didn't have that. They had a positive child. And even with my negative daughter, I still worry for her, and just making sure that she remains negative, because, there are no programs that are really targeting youth, that are even really coming out to the schools and making sure that they're aware and they're knowledgeable. I do what I need to do for my house, but that's because I'm equipped. There's parents that are not equipped to even have the sex education talk with their children, so. Oh, I'm going to stop right there, because if we keep going, I'm going to go on a rant. So I'm going to just a lot where I just stop, because that just lets for me, there's just more to go. And I can't just say, we're here, we've made it by the progress, the small progress that we've made. I mean, it's important and impactful, but to me, when you measure it against everything else,
Turn
I
that
still
lid
see
off,
it so
please.
much more.
I I want to hear Maria talk about U equals U. That wasn't something that was always a thing. Shoot, that's within this 40 years. You know the fact that you just said, the doctors didn't even know that you taking your medicine would prevent your baby from contracting it. And U equals U, man. Like, that's a game changer right there.
Is Maria able to speak on you equals you? You hear us, sis? Okay, maybe not. I want to. I'm not sure if y'all are seeing the comments pop up on the screens, but a woman from
No.
Nigeria just.
You hear me?
Yes.
Now I can. You must be really delayed, Maria.
I
Hold
don't
on,
know
let me
what's
get.
going on.
But we could hear you. We could hear you.
Okay, well, I mean, there's so much to say. I'm not having really a good day. My father died 3 years ago, and tomorrow's his birthday. And I don't want to
Sorry.
go there. So let me breathe like the strong women that we are. And, we always show up. I admire women like all of you, because I know all of you have gone through so much struggles. We all do. And but we're powerful women, and we're examples. And we show up every time, even if we're dying. I apologize because Joe texts me. Joe is like my little twin soul. I gotta read her. She's like, stop eating banana on live. I said, Joe, ask him is slow. We have to take care of our health. That's self-care and self-love. And people don't understand that we're long-term survivors. We don't just have any little thing. You know, true enough, it's not the same thing that it was back in the days. Because as Vicky mentioned, and I tell a lot of young people, they're like, oh, I know how it was. You saw it through documentaries. You don't know how it was. I don't know how it was for Aisha or for you, Portia, to be born with HIV, as I mentioned before. And sometimes that survivor guilt comes from that, because I have seen so much death. And I describe long-term survivors as people that come back from a war, that they lost so many people. So we have PTSD, we have anxiety, we have depression, and survivor's guilt. And every time a friend of mine dies, I get scared. I still get scared to this day when I go get my labs. And I'm a strong woman, but I'm real. And I'm afraid because I'm like, is my immune system good? Because I always, HIV. I mean, I had an AIDS diagnosis because I didn't have no medicine. I was back in my country, Colombia. We didn't have a support system. We didn't have social media. We didn't have medication. I didn't know anyone with HIV. I just knew I was a teenager that had a death sentence. And but I'm still here. But the loss has been great, and I know that we want to be motivational, and we should be grateful that we're here, but we cannot forget those that have passed. Last year, 30 of my friends died. 30.
Ay, ay,
And
ay.
not only because of complications, but because of COVID and because of something that has to do with COVID, which is diagnostics. They weren't able to go into the diagnostic clinics because of COVID, so they eventually passed from cancer. And these were long-term survivors. I them also, including one of my best friends in Spain, that had a very similar story to me, and a blogger in Spanish from Spain, Una Chica Como Yo, which I'm also very, very proud that the Well Project has expanded to Latin America, Spain, and now even India, and in Africa, everywhere. She killed herself. This
Ay.
is a woman that's extremely strong. She had a husband and a 15-year-old son. I have to talk about her because I have to. I have a lot of grief in me. And this woman would write me every December handwritten letters. Not computer. Talking about 8, 9, 10 hundred. It was beautiful. I felt like I was back in I don't know what era, but it was beautiful. And she would tell me every year that it was getting harder and harder, and the pain. But I was like, she's strong, just like me. You're gonna make it. I'm gonna go to Spain. I'm gonna visit you. And she killed herself in November of last year.
Ay.
Put herself in a ditch, turned her phone off, and died. And left her husband and her 15-year-old son. So, you know, HIV and AIDS is a bitch, as I've always said. I wrote a letter to HIV many years ago. It's on my YouTube channel. I even cry there. But at the end of the day, HIV also saved my life because I didn't care about myself because of my past and my abuse and so much things. And it made me love myself more and take care of my body more. True enough, I make mistakes and I go into very dark places that a lot of people don't know about. But I can assure you that I always will get out. And I believe that through the pain is how we evolve spiritually. And like I say always, I'm gonna ride the bike to the chain breaks and let the cars lay where they may. When my mission is complete, I believe that if I saved one life, my
Mm-hmm.
mission was complete. All worth it, and I'll be in the light.
Dang.
Thank you for that. That was deep. Oh, Angela.
Yes. Yeah, that is she's talking about that stigma, man. That it's that stigma. We've come so far in treatment and science, but that stigma still hasn't quite like really changed, you know? And
Right.
I know for me, I know every vertical story is different, but like I kind of was sheltered from it as a kid, like going to children's hospital and being a part of the different camps and the different McDonald events and stuff that I was a part of it. I thought of it as like, oh, I have a life threatening disease, like just a illness. I didn't know it was so much stigma behind it until I got older. Um, and I started wanting to date. And then that's the part where, and I know this might differ from like Maria and Vicky because you guys always were aware of the stigma and I wasn't as a child. And so that stigma is what really like broke me down, like um and just relating to what she was saying about some of her friends who have passed away. That's what made living with HIV, although, I was a lot more sick as a child, but it wasn't hard. Children's Hospital made it a fun thing in a positive thing. But what really broke me down and made me give up was going through that stigma in my middle school and high school years, and figuring out, that it was a huge stigma. And I think that's where all that, I think that's what hasn't changed. And I don't know how do we, I mean, I feel like more and more people are speaking out, and we're sharing our stories and stuff, but it's still, I don't know how to I don't know how we push past that.
And we ask ourselves, how do we push past it? But we're still seeing posts and we're still seeing comments that are, just, I mean, mind blowing. Even recently, you're seeing posts and they think for likes maybe or for fun, but people are posting things like, I don't have this or that and HIV, but you can't share this status, or even recently someone made a post and it was shared by an advocate, Masonia, and
Yeah.
the person was asking how can or rather stating that people living with HIV or women living with HIV are actually out here having babies. And it's like,
What kind of
uh-huh.
weirdo stuff is
Like,
that? That's what she
you
said.
know, for me, it's like people are, and how I look at it is a lot of the things people post there, they're so telling of their insecurities and the things that they are going through. And I say, remember earlier when I said, it's like a superpower to me because I read between the lines on some of those posts, it's like, okay, maybe you can share this, but what boxes don't you check in your life that you felt that you needed to, share this to make yourself feel better, you know? Or what are you going through in your life that makes you so intimidated by a woman living with HIV that is in a relationship or not in a relationship, but have met someone that wants to have a baby with them, despite, in spite of their condition that people look at as so highly stigmatizing. But this person chose to have a baby and create a baby and didn't care about HIV, So for me, that's what the question I have to ask to anybody who's stigmatizing, because oftentimes again, it's just so telling of their own insecurities and their own shortcomings. And I wish that for so many other women or people living with HIV that they can also be able to see that as well, and also even stop self-stigmatizing themselves and thinking that or limit or putting limits on things that they can accomplish. I hear all the time where a person that I know living with HIV didn't become a hairstylist or they didn't become a nurse, you know, because they didn't want to, have people learning about their status or their own fear in going down those paths, or people that chose to be in HIV and advocacy or work completely in that field, but maybe they get burnt out because it's not where their true passion is. Maybe it's something that they can do, in their free time, but that wasn't their life's path that they would have initially chosen, So stigma, it affects so much more than even choosing to take your medicine. It affects what lifestyle you're choosing to live, maybe even where you live or what places you choose to occupy. So yeah, stigma is.
I truly want to thank you so much for. I truly want to inspire others that no matter where you are in your life, you can accomplish your dreams. My story is very convoluted, and I experienced homelessness. I had less than 50 T cells. I was locked up in a mental health institute and diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic, even though I had AIDS-related dementia. And it was the new medications that came out in the mid 90s that somehow, and I'm not very religious, but I do believe that I was guided to, if I had a second chance at life, what would I do? And the answer for me was to help other people. So I started going back to school, never in my wildest dreams believing that I would ever graduate. I really thought that I would die because that's what the doctors told me at the time, and that's what we were all experiencing. And I was also using a lot of substances at the time because I hated myself so much. I internalized all that stigma that my family disowned me. I couldn't find a doctor to help me. I was stigmatized throughout. All my friends stopped calling, so that internal stigma really got to me. But I went back to school. I got my AA, I got my BA. I went on to get a master's degree. I went on to get a second master's degree, and I graduated 2 years ago with a PhD. So if I know that if I can do it, because I am a mess sometimes. If I can do it, I want to help other people do it. I want to be your support. If you're looking to go back to school, if you want to follow your dreams, no matter what your dreams are, if you want to live and work in the HIV community, or if you want to be a hairdresser, or if you want to be a welder, whatever it is, I'm here to support you and help you. I know I'm putting it out there a lot, but if you need help writing an application to get into college, or a scholarship application, you can hit me up and I will help you. I really believe that my passion, and for the next 10 years of my life, that's where I want to focus my energy, is helping other people living with HIV follow their dreams. And no matter what capacity I can do that as, whether it's getting money or just talking with them on finding out what their passions are. When I was going to school is where I first realized how stigmatizing the language was, because I was reading research articles and I was reading HIV infected woman, HIV infected over and over. And I'm like, shit, they're talking about me, and that doesn't feel good. And I repeat those messages in my head. So I made it my mission I want to change that language. But I've been doing these workshops on language for the past decade. But I still see researchers and scientists and health professionals using stigmatizing language. So that's another one of my passion. Look, I get teary-eyed. I'm also older and I'm going through menopause, so my emotions are all right there. But I so want to be your inspiration and help anybody follow your dreams. I truly do.
Man, because it just makes my heart so heavy hearing Maria talk about her friend that just passed away, because the stigma, like, the treatment works so good. We know U equals U. We know we're not infectious. We
Yeah.
know all of this stuff, yet that stigma is still killing people. And that's the part where it's like, yo, and just going through this COVID thing is making me realize how stigma is disseminated. Now it ain't the gays no more. The Asians is getting that ain't funny. But
I know, right?
Asians are getting discriminated against because of COVID. I
But you know
know
what's crazy, Portia?
what.
It's like people act like it can't happen to them. Like, and like you have to do something special to end up with the HIV diagnosis. And when we talk about like the self stigma and stuff, like that was me, because I felt like it was something special that I did to end up in this situation. That's why I always look at, especially y'all that were born with it, like, well, y'all didn't do nothing, and y'all, I'm living, that same life with y'all. So that's so crazy. And now that you keep making the parallel between COVID and HIV, it's like, now, like, does it make sense to people now? No, it doesn't. We're still seeing just the same ignorant mess on the internet. Like, it's so
I,
crazy.
I think in a way it's clicked into people, like this pandemic, going through 2020, all of us collectively going through this COVID crisis. I think it's showing more of the world that we're all connected. What affects one of us affects all of us, because they can't say that with COVID. They can't say, oh, Although some people might like to think it can't affect me, COVID, but no, COVID is affecting everybody. It ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I watched a person get into my car when I was Ubering and lifting. He got into my car without a mask on. And I looked back, I said, "You don't use condoms, do you?" What you mean? I was like, "I see you're not really in the game of protecting yourself." And he was like, "Oh," and I just went into that whole explanation of why I felt that way or whatever. And I hope that he refers back to that conversation later on. But yeah, I feel in some areas it may have helped, but I just feel like so many people, we feel like we're invincible sometimes,
mhm.
or feel like that couldn't be our story, or what, however it may go. We're coming down on time now, so I wanted to end on a note of, so is there anything as long-term survivors that you would want the audience to know? Like if you had to sum it up in 2 sentences, what would you want the audience to walk away with?
Well, for me, I just
I
hope
want to say
that
about that.
some, if
Oh,
you're
sorry.
watching this, that you were able to hear something that makes you want to at least get tested or become involved in your community in some way, or with a organization that may be only have a virtual platform, whatever. Just take a moment to learn more about the organization and a little about its resources, because everybody knows somebody living with HIV, and you may not know it, but you do. And one day you yourself may need to be a resource for someone. And instead of being, stigmatizing or saying something that's self serving, you may be able to provide some true help and resource. So I hope, if, I guess, my main takeaway is that you've seen something today that makes you want to help someone and change how you yourself communicate about HIV.
Maria, you there?
Okay, I unmuted myself.
Okay.
I don't want to be like dramatic or anything like that, but this is a very serious subject. And what I want people to take from us long-term survivors is that we need special assessments because we have a thing called AIDS survivor syndrome. A lot of people don't understand that. And there's a lot of complexities that we face. One of the things that hurts me the most is that they're trying to take the word AIDS out, and us long-term survivors are not going to go for that, and we didn't, because that's my diagnosis. No one is going to double stigmatize me, especially in the community, or my brothers and sisters that have that diagnosis, or the people that have passed of complications of AIDS. So I ask of everyone that, not to forget us. A lot of long survivors are aging and they're in isolation. And because of this, I detect more than HIV. They have relapsed on drugs, consuming drugs, they're in domestic violence situations. There's a lot of things going on because of COVID, and it's correlated to also being long-term survivors. They're alone. People are alone. So I'm just gonna say one thing. Sometimes we see these women like you all that are powerful and strong, and I'm just gonna include myself in there too, because I think I'm pretty strong. Um, Please reach out to those that you believe are strong, because sometimes we are the ones that need the most help because we're always helping others. Who helps us? So reach out to somebody. Reach out to someone that you know is a long-term survivor and is an elder in our community. We cannot forget what we have been through or what they have been through, and we cannot forget that they are the ones that fought for the medications that we take today to stay alive. So I'm very honored to be here today with all of you. Excuse my a little bit of erratic behavior, but I'm just going through a lot right now. And love and light to all of you.
Love you, Maria.
So good, Maria. Oh, I love you. Okay. What about you, Portia? What you gonna tell the people?
I want to let Vicky go because she said she has a meeting at 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
hear it.
yeah, that's okay. I actually got another meeting that I logged into on the side here. I just want to thank the Well Project and thank Cece and all the beautiful women for being here and putting this together. I'm so grateful. And one thing that I would leave you with is a very wise woman told me many, many years ago that you are growing and changing in beautiful ways every day. And believe that you are amazing. And I love you all. I've got to go.
And I guess what I want to say, I kind of already said it already, but if one thing this past year, going through this COVID pandemic has showed us is that we're all connected. What affects one of us affects us all. And, you know, science only goes so far, but then comes, God. I don't know who said that quote. And then love, love is what's going to get us through all, it's going to be many more pandemics to come. But love is gonna the love and the lack of judgment, lack of hate is what's going to get us through all of that. And if there's one thing that I hope that you guys learn from all of us is that no matter what pandemic comes our way or what life throws at us, we can survive and we can get through it with love and light.
Y'all so decent. Oh my God. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we got to do this. Oh, thank you for joining us for the first episode of A Girl Like Me Live. Please join us again in 2 weeks. That's going to be on June 16th. And I will be talking dating and disclosure with Marissa Gonzalez. Y'all think that's going to be a good one, right?
Yeah.
You could talk about that all day.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm so excited. Once again, thank you for joining. Gonna put some outro music on here and we good.
Love you, Cece. Thank
Love
you.
you too for being here. All right.